This innocent girl is stripped naked and abused by her high school bully, Kazumi. Kazumi belongs to a dirty rich family, so the high school can't dare to lay a hand on her. Her wild actions have gone out of control, and this time, she wanted her gang to sexually violate Madoka in the worst way possible. She excitedly opens the door for her men, but a straight punch smacked her so hard she flew like a rag doll. Met Akihito, the MC, who comes to her place after beating the crap out of Kazumi's goons. After an intense battle, he beats her one last guard too. Kazumi realizes she is now doomed and drops a bombshell. I will let you grope my melons. She even unbuttons her shirt, getting serious about what she said, and sneakily draws out a sharp screwdriver. When our boy leans in, she attacks, but he easily dodges. Then comes the hero's left hand, groping her stress ball cause she said so, and the right one smacks her face cause she deserved that after bullying innocents. But Kazumi wasn't always that terrible. On the first day of school, our hero sensed a goon harassing her. He jumped straight into a fight and humiliated him with a couple of strikes. At that moment, the cute Kazumi falls in love with him. They happen to share the same class, and within a few days, they both fell in love. But one day, Madoka came to our hero and asked him to go out with her. Before he replies, she begins removing her clothes. Our hero was shocked as she went almost naked. Then she asks him to do it as he likes. The weight of those words struck our hero. Further, she pins him down on the table. Although my boy has a girlfriend, he still lets her cook. I mean, who can resist those juicy man killers? His hand goes straight at them. Nope, her shoulder. My boy is a Sigma after all. He pushes her back and tells her he has a fiancé named Kazumi. When he went out, Kazumi, along with her girls, was already recording them from the start. Kazumi calls him stupid for not clapping Madoka. Bro was shocked at Kazumi's words. Later, he realized that things were so deceptive that he had no regrets falling for them. And wait, this is where the story starts. Our hero, Akihito, isn't a student in the first place. He enrolled to humble all the bullies, and you will find out the reason at the start of the story. Let's begin. This trash is chained like a dog. Right in front, a chick is like, "Wakey wakey, it's time for school." Kyomei High School, one of those places that feels more of an MMA octagon than an actual classroom. Kids here don't study. They throw hands for fun. Among them, this clueless brat Yuki has no clue what's going on. Then, out of nowhere, some jerk jumps in and slams his face. Fists keep coming until the poor kid's body just gives out. He drops out cold on the grimy floor. Right next to him, a total jerk is sitting like he owns the place, acting all bossy while shouting who the winner of this ridiculous brawl is. His fan club is going bananas, cheering and tossing trash at Yuki. That's how he ends up as today's official punching bag. Inside the classroom, a few assholes are picking on him again. Yuki's shaking and he's in serious pain, while Suzuki, another jerk, calls for the next round. They even bet money on how bad he'll get beaten. Suzuki steps in, throws a punch, and acts like he just scored a big win. Then there's Tanaka, the real jerk. He tells Yuki to hand over his wallet, saying losers should face the consequences. He takes it anyway. Now Yuki's lunch money is gone. But Tanaka isn't done. He starts kicking him like he's some messed up toy, over and over. Yuki can't handle it anymore. His body hurts, and his mind is just screaming, why? Why him? Why does this always happen? Deep down, he wishes someone would step in and make them pay. Even if it's a crazy person, even if it's a villain, he doesn't care who. Then the door slams open. Tanaka turns just in time to catch a flying kick right to the face that sends him soaring across the room like yesterday's garbage. The whole class just freezes. The new guy stands there, cool and dangerous. He doesn't waste any time. Another hit, and Tanaka is out cold before you can say instant karma. The minions stare, confused and freaked out. That jerk was on our guy's radar, and now he just scored a point for taking him down. They start whispering, trying to figure out who the heck he is. He just introduces himself, Akihito, the new transfer student. Suzuki totally loses it, grabs a chair, and swings it around. Akihito just dodges like it's no big deal. Before Suzuki can even say, ouch, Akihito teleports behind him and delivers one legendary kick right to the family jewels. The pain is so brutal that you can almost feel every guy's urge to cross their legs. Then it's the other minion's turn, and our guy starts counting the points he could score like he's playing a game. He licks some blood off his fingers, saying it's to taste their sins. Poor Yuki is just sitting there, totally confused about who this new kid is. Cut to a high-rise office. A chick pitches this idea to tackle youth crime. The suits laugh, calling it madness. But then she breaks down how it works. Juvenile offenders get sent to tough schools to help fix them from the inside. They can earn points for every good thing they do, which shortens their time behind bars. That's how Akihito finds himself in this situation. A convict posing as a new student. Later, he's fooling around with a camera and calls Yuki over to help him out. Yuki hesitates for a second, but eventually comes over. Akihito pulls him in close and snaps a selfie of them both grinning like goofballs, with a bunch of beaten up bullies in the background. He points at the note on Yuki's shirt, and the kid explains it's a punishment for losing a fight. Turns out, the Mineta brothers are running these underground matches where they make weaker students fight while they place bets on them. Akihito thinks it's hilarious. To him, it sounds like a gold mine. He decides to bet on himself, thinking he can cash in and earn some time off. 1 point for taking down a bad guy equals 1 day less stuck in hell. He calls himself a sinner, but this sinner got some goals. Mineta Ryuji is chilling with a bat in hand when his cronies burst in, looking a mess. Without missing a beat, Ryuji gives one of them a friendly hello to the gut for being late. But then he actually looks at their faces and realizes they've all been used as punching bags. Someone new is causing a stir. They mutter about the transfer student. Tanaka says he's strong, maybe stronger than Ryuji, which earns him an express delivery of bat to face and some instant redecorating courtesy of blood splatter. Ryuji smirks, looking cold and sharp. He tells them to bring that transfer student over, right now. As our guy, along with that little kid, hits the avenue, he's totally surprised to see a makeshift cage fight going down. The kids are going wild over some other poor students who just went toe-to-toe. Ryuji, acting all tough, declares the winner and checks to see if he's alright. He spots that the kid's nose is busted, so Dr. Ryuji decides to fix it up for him. He squeezes the kid's nose super hard, and the kid lets out a crazy scream. In no time, he's got his plastic surgery done, all nice and neat. Yuki thinks it's just awful. But as our guy checks out the prize, he realizes Ryuji could score him 10 points. Not too shabby, and if he wins, he'll treat Yuki to a burger. Yuki looks unsure, but our guy jumps in, all confident, just as Ryuji's about to call out the next opponent. Akihito steps up, saying he wants to fight. Ryuji's never seen his face before, and that's when Suzuki yells out that he's the transfer student. Ryuji sizes up our guy, who's just chilling, and starts thinking about his opponent. But our guy suddenly asks if he can pick who he fights and points right at Ryuji, saying he wants to go against him. This completely cracks Ryuji up, and his crew can't believe someone is actually challenging their boss. Ryuji's the toughest of the bunch, and he checks if the challenger's really sure about that. For our guy, it doesn't make a difference. Beating him is the same either way. That gets Ryuji heated. He pulls out a bucket and tells everyone to throw in their cash because it's going to be a death match. All the minions start betting on Ryuji, who thinks only our guy is going down. He notices a cool collar that could help him make our guy his pet, and sees his brace and knuckles. Then the fight kicks off, and Ryuji lunges in without holding back. Our guy is quick on his feet, dodging away. He can't believe the weapons are even allowed, but turns out they were never actually banned. The only rule in this deathmatch is to fight until someone bites the dust. Ryuji, super hyped up, actually gets a solid hit on our guy, but then tries to follow it up with a kick, which totally gets dodged. The minions are yelling at Akihito not to run. Ryuji goes for it and catches our guy off guard, landing a brutal punch that makes blood spill. The minions go wild watching this. Meanwhile, Yuki is freaking out. It's still not too late to back out since it's a deathmatch. A few jerks start feeling sorry for the transfer student. Yuki thinks it's dumb to fight one of the Mineta brothers. Ryuji's all, how should I take him out? And decides he'll hurt him slowly, killing him piece by piece. But right then, our guy smacks a brick right into Ryuji's face, totally catching him off guard. He hits him again with the brick, leaving everyone in shock. Now Ryuji's on his knees while our guy, holding a bloodied brick, is smirking in front of him. Our guy climbs on top of Ryuji, catching him completely off guard, and reminds him that weapons are fair game. Ryuji is terrified, while our guy is just chilling in front of the minions. He starts smashing Ryuji's face with the brick until Ryuji looks like he's about to give up. His minions can't believe he actually lost. Our guy asks what he's saying, making it clear it won't stop until one of them is dead. The minions are freaking out. He keeps hitting Ryuji with the brick until the jerks jump in and grab him from behind. Yuki, standing there, is also scared and shouts for our guy to stop. But honestly, he's just a total menace hiding in a cute school uniform. Yuki keeps pushing him to think it's a win, so he pauses for a sec, looks over a bit confused, and asks the minion if it's really cool to call it a win. Then he lets go of the brick, walks over to Yuki grinning, and they actually come out on top. He gives Yuki a friendly pat on the shoulder, but his hand's all bloody. He's super excited for burgers, reminding Yuki that it's his treat, even though that was his own suggestion. He pulls Yuki along, but Yuki can't shake this uneasy feeling. The minions decide to call an ambulance, which catches the attention of someone riding in on a motorbike. That's Ryugo, Ryuji's brother. As the minion tries to explain about the new kid, Ryugo takes him down in no time. Then he strides over to Ryuji, sees how messed up he is, and hits him again. He says losers like him deserve to lose. After asking if the new kid did this, he tosses cash to the minions, telling them to track that kid down, no matter what. Akihito's totally drooling over the cheeseburger menu. Everything looks amazing, so he just decides to go for it and order the whole spread. Maybe it's a bit much, but who cares? Cheeseburgers are life. He's way too pumped to dig in. When he takes that first bite, it's ridiculously good. Yuki can't believe his reaction, and wonders if this is his first burger ever. He can't help but think back to that fight earlier, how Akihito smashed some guy's face with a rock without even flinching. This guy is definitely different. He remembers Akihito mentioning he's a criminal, so he straight up asks if that's true. Akihito's like, yeah, which totally blows Yuki's mind. He can't wrap his head around why someone like that is even in school. Akihito explains that some big shot sent him to sort things out, and beating up bad guys helps shorten his sentence. It's wild. When Yuki asks how long the sentence is, Akihito casually drops that it's 500 years. Yuki's shocked since the max in Japan is 30 years. Even for minors, it's life. He's seriously wondering what the heck this guy did. Out of nowhere, Akihito declares he's got the best idea ever. He tells Yuki to stuff fries into his burger and pour cola on top. He calls it the Akihito special. He figures that mixing tasty stuff together will only make it better. Just as he's about to take a big bite, 3 thugs crash in through the glass. Everyone screams at the loud noise. Yuki freezes in fear they're Mineta's goons. Yuki is yelling at Akihito, but he's too busy focusing on his burger. Then this main jerk steps up, asking if he's the transfer student who took out Ryuji. Yuki can't believe they're here for revenge. He tries to bail but gets clocked right in the nose. The guy then turns to Akihito, who's still fixated on his burger until the jerk stomps on it, squishing it flat. That's it. Akihito loses it. The jerk starts to laugh, saying if he wants it fixed, he should lick his shoes. Akihito grabs his food and warns him to move or else. The jerk just laughs, but in no time, Akihito sends him down with a clean break in his leg. The minions freeze, and the guy is screaming like a little kid. Akihito jumps up, fuming that those losers just stomped on his burger. He turns and starts taking them down one by one. He doesn't put up with anyone disrespecting his food. The bully pleads for mercy, but Akihito just smashes his face. Yuki can't believe his eyes. He took out all 3 in a flash. Then, Akihito picks up his ruined burger and mourns it, before shoving it into the bully's mouth. He does the same to the others, cramming their mouths with leftovers as payback for ruining his meal. At the counter, the waitress looks super nervous, while taking his order for another yum-yum cheeseburger. He stays cool, just focused on getting his food. Later, Yuki and Akihito head home, totally stuffed and satisfied. Yuki thinks Akihito is a pretty weird guy. Around the corner, a girl is catching her breath after chasing someone down. She finally corners him, and it turns out to be Fuyume-chan total knockout. Yuki thinks she's super gorgeous, and wonders if she might be his sister. But instead, she slaps handcuffs on him for being up to no good, and drags him away like a mom scolding her kid. He gives Yuki a wave and says he'll catch up later. That night, Yuki feels wiped out but can't shake off thoughts about how Akihito took down those jerks. He laughs, thinking it's actually kind of fun. As he turns a corner, he bumps into someone who pulls him back up. It's Ryugo. Yuki freezes, sweating like crazy, while Ryugo just stands there, looking like total trouble. The scene shifts to a cozy summer apartment where Aki is totally craving some wild food. But Fuyume-chan reminds him he's not getting dinner because that's his punishment for breaking the rules. He tries to play innocent, claiming he didn't do anything wrong, but he totally forgot about that reckless outing he had, and all the chaos he created between damaged property and wrecked restaurants, you name it. She tells him he should be grateful they're only skipping dinner. He's annoyed but asks if he can at least take off the collar that tracks his location. She shoots that down and warns him that if he tries to take it off, it'll blow up. He thinks that's crazy. She also reminds him not to wander more than 30 meters away from her. Right away, he blames Yuki, insisting all this started because he treated him to burgers. She asks if he's talking about that kid from earlier, and if he didn't actually force him to pay, which he didn't. So she adds that he's also missing out on breakfast, making him cry like a little kid. Meanwhile, she tells him he should be thankful he even gets to stay in her supervised apartment. Then she explains the whole offender transfer system. It sends young offenders like him to special schools as transfer students to deal with issues that outsiders can't handle. It's a unique system. If he does well, his sentence gets cut down. She mentions that the project isn't just about fixing the school, it's also meant to help him have a normal life, but he replies that they already drilled that into him during training. She looks at him and asks if he really wants to go back to that old life. The question stops him dead in his tracks. Memories of his time in prison hit him hard: rats, filth, and rotting corpses. He quickly admits he doesn't want to go back. She smiles and suggests they make a deal. If he completes every mission, she'll cook him hamburger steak. That takes him by surprise, but he's all in for it. They seal the deal. The next day at that wild school, our guy rolls in super pumped it's hamburger day, but pretty soon, he gets surrounded by a group of losers. Then Ryugo shows up, saying they've been waiting for him. Aki's like, "Who even are you?" And Ryugo introduces himself as Ryugo Mineta. Aki thinks it's bad luck this guy is looking for him, but figures they might as well get this over with. Ryugo just smirks and says he's not the one who's gonna fight. He points to his crew, and to Aki's surprise, it's Yuki and a few other kids who look all messed up. Ryugo claims they came begging for a fight. Aki goes stiff when he sees sees Yuki all beaten and asks what he's even doing there. Yuki can barely meet his eyes, shivering and seeming sorry for Aki since he knows he's got no choice. 12 hours earlier, Yuki and the other kids were hanging off a bridge, scared out of their minds. Yuki's blaming himself, thinking that if Ryugo hadn't found him, none of this would be happening. If they fall, they're done for. Ryugo asks if they want help, and they beg for it, saying they'll do anything. Then Ryugo tells them to kill the transfer student. Yuki is blown away, and the others can't wrap their heads around it either. One kid pipes up, saying they'll die if they go through with that, and then Ryugo just snaps his hand loose, sending him plummeting into the river below. Then he turns to Yuki, asking what he's gonna do. Yuki realizes he's got no choice. He doesn't want to die, so he agrees, even if it means going against Aki. Back to the present, Ryugo gives the signal to start the fight, and asks Aki if he can really hit his poor friends who are being forced to throw down. Aki doesn't say anything. Just then, one kid jumps at him, and the first one to get smacked away is Yuki. Aki sends him flying without even thinking about it. The rest of Ryugo's gang rushes him, but Aki takes them down one by one like it's a walk in the park. Ryugo calls out, asking if that glasses kid isn't his buddy. Aki just scratches his head, looking puzzled, and casually goes, "Not really." That takes Yuki by surprise. He starts yelling, saying they even had burgers together. He feels totally betrayed and breaks down, thinking Aki is being really mean. But Aki just asks why Yuki tried to hit him in the first place. If hitting friends is betrayal, doesn't that mean Yuki already betrayed him? Yuki doesn't have anything to say. Ryugo starts to clap, finding it funny how Aki almost took him out for messing with his brother. He strolls over with a grin and offers Aki a deal, joining him. Aki shuts him down right away. Ryugo tries again, throwing out offers of cash, power, or whatever Aki wants, even food. That makes Aki pause for a moment, but he still says no. Ryugo asks why not. Aki responds that someone's gonna make him steak later. Both Ryugo and Yuki are left speechless. Aki steps closer, calm and cool, and repeats that he's not joining. Ryugo cracks up, saying that at this school, everything is settled with fists. The minions start throwing cash around, all betting on Ryugo. It's pretty straightforward. He wins if he gets his opponent to say they give up. Our guy asks if it has to end in death, but if he dies, Ryugo can't turn him into his underling. He gets it, and they're all set for a showdown. The minions are super hyped, and as the fight kicks off, our guy charges in, grabs a brick, and aims to smash it right at Ryugo's face. Ryugo dodges it like a pro and comes back with a solid punch square in our guy's face, catching him off guard. The crowd goes wild. Blood's dripping down from our guy's nose. Turns out, Ryugo is a national junior boxing champ, and he's really showing his skills. Our guy thinks it's not too shabby, so he goes in again, trying to dodge around. But he's on the back foot now, just weaving away from a barrage of punches from Ryugo. He can't get a hit in, and ends up getting rocked by another clean shot. He's totally dazed, and Ryugo doesn't let up, going in hard on his gut, which makes him spit out blood. Yuki can't believe what she's witnessing. The onlookers are totally pumped up. Meanwhile, Ryugo keeps throwing out taunts, but our guy just smirks. Out of nowhere, he lunges forward and grabs Ryugo's leg, totally catching him off guard. The minions are frozen in shock, but Ryugo quickly flips the script and grabs our guy instead, thinking he's got him since grabbing legs is a boxer's weak spot. He pins him down without a second thought. He doesn't see any issue at all, but our guy realizes that Ryugo totally misunderstood the situation. He raises his fist, ready to throw down, and goes for a brutal punch aimed at Ryugo's feet, but it totally backfires on him. Instead of hitting Ryugo, he ends up injuring his own hand like crazy. The minions are in shock. Even though the transfer student made the move, he's the one screaming in pain. Ryugo just taps his shoes, showing off that nothing can beat the steel he's got in there. Yuki realizes he rigged his shoes with steel plates, and the shock hits her. Then Ryugo starts unleashing a flurry of punches, not holding back at all, landing hit after hit. He smirks and says that's what happens when someone goes up against him. If it keeps going like this, our guy's in serious trouble. Yuki is totally worried. Akihito's bleeding pretty heavily, but he's still toughing it out, saying it's no big deal. He cracks jokes at Ryugo for calling himself the strongest, while secretly stuffing steel plates in his shoes. With a smirk, he wonders if Ryugo might actually be second-guessing his boxing skills. That really gets under their skin, and Ryugo fires back, calling him a half-dead punk. But Akihito just stands up, gets into a boxing stance, and throws a few air punches. He points out that after taking all those hits, he's picked up a thing or two about boxing. He claims he's got all this boxing stuff memorized, and Ryugo thinks it's pretty interesting too. Our guy jumps right in, trying to throw punches left and right, but he's doing it all wrong. So, Ryugo decides to step in and teach him a thing or two. He tells him to keep his shoulders squared and elbows tucked in, then to step in firmly and throw straight jabs with a light touch. Our guy manages to block a few, but Ryugo reminds him that a jab is just a setup for a bigger hit. He should use it to make space, then rotate his body to strike. This catches our guy off guard. Ryugo explains that this is the basic 1-2 combo in boxing. Blood starts trickling down our guy's face, and he's swinging wildly but looks way too slow. The minions start chuckling. Fed up, Ryugo lands a solid punch right on our guy's face. The minions are all cheering him on. Ryugo asks if he's ready to give up now, but surprisingly, our guy guy just starts laughing like it's the funniest thing ever. That cracks Ryugo up too. When he tries to hit him again, suddenly, our guy starts following Ryugo's boxing tips. Everyone watching is completely shocked. He's just trying to practice the boxing moves he picked up from Ryugo, and that really ticks Ryugo off. Next thing you know, our guy rushes in, aiming to land a hit on Ryugo. It doesn't go as planned though. Surprisingly, Ryugo realizes that our guy is pretty fast, and the crowd can't believe he's actually pushing Ryugo back. Ryugo digs his feet into the ground and, with a twist of his body, manages to land a solid hit on Ryugo. Our guy wonders if Ryugo enjoys this. Some of the minions check on him. Yuki can't believe that in such a short time, our guy has picked up all of Ryugo's moves. Ryugo, confused, can't figure out who this kid is. Our guy asks what he means and just casually mentions that he's a criminal. The minions are thrown off by this, while Ryugo just sneers, calling our guy an outsider and warns him, until the jerks jump in and grab him from behind. But our guy then grabs him by the head. Our guy retorts that Ryugo started this fight, saying those kids just wanted to live a normal school life. He tells Ryugo he's the one invading their lives and promises to take him down for them. Everyone watching is completely shocked. Meanwhile, our guy says he just wants to live freely. That really catches Yuki's attention. Our guy talks about the final round and says he's going to use a hypergrade punch. Ryugo is left in disbelief, now determined to wipe out our guy. They both charge at each other. Ryugo tries to throw a punch but misses. The next second, our guy gets hit in the face, surprising Yuki. Just when Ryugo thinks he's got the upper hand, our guy casually smirks. He powers up his fist and lands a brutal hit right on Ryugo's face, catching him totally off guard. Our guy doesn't hold back and goes in for another strike. As Ryugo opens his eyes, he can't believe our guy actually knows how to box. Just when Ryugo wonders what move is coming next, our guy delivers a straight-up kick to Ryugo's face. Blood drips down as Ryugo drops to his knees, leaving everyone around completely stunned. Our guy stands there, looking cool as ice. In a meeting, Fuyume-chan shares that our guy did a good job with that delinquent, even though there's still some damage. Someone mentions they can count on her, and then she heads out. The minions can't wrap their heads around why the chief backed such a project. They're all curious about how Fuyume-chan is planning to tackle it. When she finally gets home, our guy is super excited to see her. There's a news report on TV about some students getting arrested for assault. He thinks it's about him and feels pretty awesome, especially since he got 100 points for taking those guys down. Yuki hops up to him and appreciates what he did, asking if he can buy him a hamburger. He's still thinking about that delicious burger from before, but he's even more excited now because he thinks he's got cash to splurge on all sorts of tasty food. Fuyume-chan gets curious about the money and wonders if he's talking about gambling. She warns him that any money from gambling is going to get confiscated here. If he uses that cash, he could be in trouble for gambling, but he shrugs it off because he figures he's already a criminal anyway. She gives him props for doing well on his first day, but reminds him that he's still got a long way to go, with 499 years left on his sentence after getting 265 years knocked off. He thinks he'll just keep beating up bad guys to rack up points. She tells him not to let his guard down. The problems at the previous school were easy to spot, but the next one won't be so simple. She mentions it's a school even they can't handle, where unseen malice operates. Fuyume-chan says it's cool to focus on points and beating bad people, but what really counts is wanting to help others. If he sees someone in trouble, he should step in. He promises he'll take care of it, and she starts prepping for the next day. The next morning, as he's getting ready for school, he's annoyed that she's treating him like a kid. She reminds him to check out the info about the school, and he takes off all excited. She calls after him, but he's already out the door. Once he gets to school, he struggles to find his way around. Suddenly, he spots a girl in front of a thug. Remembering Fuyume-chan's advice about helping people, he shouts at the goon to back off. The thug asks if our guy realizes who he's messing with, and as he mocks him with a nasty comment, he gets hit with a brutal kick right to his face. The thug tries to charge him, but our guy dodges. He remembers Ryugo's advice to keep his elbows tucked in and step forward to swing straight. He does just that. Finally, he recalls that a jab is just a feint, so he uses it to create an opening, turns his body, and lands another clean strike. It actually works. When he turns to check on the girl, he feels butterflies in his stomach as she thanks him for saving her. He gets all flustered and says it's only natural to help when someone's in trouble. She asks for his contact info since she wants to express her gratitude, and they end up swapping numbers. She introduces herself as Kasumi and says she has to head to class, so she takes off. He's left blushing and realizes he needs to get to school too. When he arrives, there are tons of girls chatting away. The teacher jumps in to introduce the new transfer student. Our guy walks into the class, still a bit flustered. When he looks up, he can't believe it. Everyone in the class is a girl. They're all surprised that a guy just walked into an all-girls school and think he's cute. They even wonder if his collar is some kind of cosplay. Then he notices someone Kasumi is in the same class. They're both shocked, and he feels those butterflies again, wondering if this is some kind of fate. She remembers he's the guy from this morning. Some girl asks if she knows him, and Kasumi says he helped her when a scary dude was bothering her earlier. They all start to wonder if this could be something out of a shoujo manga, thinking maybe it's fate or something. Our guy's heart is racing, wondering if this is really destiny. So, he joins their class and heads to an empty seat, trying to be friendly with the girl next to him, but she looks super serious and not welcoming at all. He thinks that's kinda rude and wishes Kasumi was sitting next to him instead. When lunch rolls around, he feels super relieved since he hates studying. Kasumi comes over and asks if he wants to grab lunch together. He plays it cool, and she takes his hand, leading him while his face goes all red. His lunch tastes amazing, and she asks if his mom made it. He says no, and she wonders if it's from his girlfriend. He clears that up by saying it's made by his older sister, Fuyume-chan. Kasumi looks relieved it's from his sister, not a girlfriend, which catches him off guard. She properly introduces herself as Kasumi, the class rep. Her friends are surprised that a guy transferred to their all-girls school. He reveals he came to sort out the school's issues. He asks if there are any bad guys he can beat up, or if anything weird has gone down. But Kasumi tells him there's nothing dangerous, and asks if he noticed anything strange since he got there. He says no, so she tells him to enjoy normal school life, hang out with friends, join some clubs, and even spend time with his lover. Then she spots some ketchup on his face and leans in to wipe it off. He calls her by her last name, but she tells him to just call her Kasumi, which surprises him. He feels shy and blushes but goes with it. He can't quite wrap his head around this weird feeling, but it makes him happy. Meanwhile, another girl in class is quietly watching the whole thing. By the end of the day, nothing unusual happens. Everything seems chill, and he starts to think Fuyume-chan might have sent him to the wrong school. Then Kasumi suddenly pops up behind him and hugs him tight. He freezes, feeling her soft chest against him. She says they should head home together, and before he knows it, they're walking side by side. He mentions that he usually beats up bad guys and solves school problems. She smiles and says she loves strong guys. That sends his mind racing, and he wonders if she likes him. Maybe he's getting popular or something. He mentions that if someone scary like that morning thug comes after her again, he'll protect her. She asks if he really will, and he swears he totally will. That makes him think she's really into him. Now he's questioning if this is what love feels like. When he gets home, Fuyume-chan greets him warmly, but he rushes to the couch, lost in his thoughts. She asks if he made any progress, but he stays quiet. She asks if he's even listening, and he finally says there are no problems at school. Then he drops the bomb that he's quitting being a criminal transfer student. That surprises her. He says he's done with it all, and just wants Kasumi to have a happy school life. She asks what he's talking about, and reminds him he's the only one released under special conditions, and she won't let him bail on this. He turns around and asks why he can't live a normal life like everyone else. That catches her off guard, but she tells him it's because he's a criminal. If he backs out of the project, he'll be sent back to solitary confinement. Hearing that, he quickly changes his tune and says he'll keep going as the criminal transfer student. But deep down, he feels bummed about it. He doesn't see any serious issues at school, and wonders what the heck he's supposed to do now. But just as he walks into the classroom, he gets hit with a shocking scene. Kasumi and her friends are actually torturing a girl. The poor girl is crying out, while Kasumi grins, all excited, getting ready to shave her head. She thinks it's kind of a breath of fresh air but ends up backing our guy. Kasumi mentions how everyone's actually helping Madoka with her hair and tells him to join in. He asks why she even shaved her head in the first place. Kasumi stays chill and says hair straighteners are all the rage lately, and she thinks Madoka might actually like it. She nudges Madoka to confirm, and the poor girl, super nervous, just nods and goes along with it. Seeing that, our guy laughs it off. He thought it was bullying, but the girls are acting all sweet behind their cute faces, finding him funny. He figures there's no way Kasumi would ever bully anyone, but Madoka is shaking like a leaf from all the pressure. Cleaning duty falls to her and our guy, and he can't believe his luck. While they're cleaning the classroom, there's this awkward silence as Madoka mops the floor quietly. He asks why she's wearing a wig when her hair's already nice, and questions why she's ignoring him. Out of nowhere, she asks if that's sarcasm, catching him off guard. He wonders if girls usually don't get happy when someone compliments their hair. He brings up if her style isn't trendy, but she snaps back that she didn't want to do this in the first place. Curious, he asks why she's so mad, and she gets all tense, saying she doesn't feel like talking, especially not with someone who flatters girls like her. He asks who she's talking about, and she spills that it's about Kasumi. She mentions it's not just her. Others have had it rough too. He can't believe what she's saying and asks if she has proof. Madoka takes off her wig, telling him to look closely, revealing bruises on her head. He's shocked, and she straight up says Kasumi did this. He refuses to believe it. In his mind, Kasumi is too cute and sweet to do anything so awful. Madoka slaps him hard, yelling that he's only known Kasumi for a few days and it's ridiculous for him to think he can solve these school issues. She tells him not to act all high and mighty. Just then, Kasumi shows up and asks what's going on. He tells her Madoka hit him. Kasumi strides over to Madoka, demanding to know why she did that, and pushes her to apologize. Madoka, Madoka, terrified, quickly says she's sorry. Kasumi tells him to forgive her and asks if he's done with cleaning. They decide to head home together while Madoka is left shaking. On the walk, he thinks about how nice it is to be alone with Kasumi. Noticing her sweet smell, he daydreams about wanting to be with her forever and blurt it out loud. She smiles and says she wants to be with him forever too. She asks him to meet her in an empty classroom tomorrow at 8 p.m. because she has something important to tell him. They pinky swear and promise before saying goodbye. As he walks away, she suddenly runs up and gives him a quick kiss on the cheek, leaving him stunned. Then she darts off home, and he stands there, red-faced, feeling like he's floating, already daydreaming about marriage. Later that night, Kasumi is walking through the park when a goon steps into her path. Instead of trying to attack her, he drops to his knees. A couple more thugs follow suit, bowing down to her too. They all thank her for her hard work, calling her their boss. She just stands there with a creepy grin, looking all menacing. The next morning at school, he can't stop stressing about Kasumi telling him to come alone. He's pacing around, wondering if she's about to confess her feelings or if they're about to get hitched. He starts daydreaming about their wedding and how they'd have 3 kids together. But first, he's definitely thinking about a lot of kissing. When the doors finally open, he calls out for Kasumi, but it's actually Madoka who walks in. He asks what she's doing there since he's waiting for Kasumi. She seems kinda lost for words. He nudges her to say what's on her mind, and out of nowhere, she confesses that she likes him. Like, she's always liked him and asks him to be her boyfriend. He's in total shock. Did that just happen? Out of the blue, she starts unbuckling her skirt and pulling it down, which totally leaves him red-faced. She's got her chest out and is basically in some wild outfit right in front of him. He's freaking out with nosebleeds galore. Madoka tells him he can do whatever he wants and climbs on top of him while he's having a mini meltdown. Her soft chest is pressing against him, and he can't deny how nice it feels. Despite the craziness, he feels happy and kind of in love. He wonders if he should touch her, but instead, he just rests his head on her shoulder and apologizes, saying he's already got a fiancée named Kasumi. He brushes her off and heads out, feeling a bit down. Once outside, all the girls are filming everything on their phones. He starts panicking, shouting to Kasumi that it's not what it looks like. He admits he felt a little happy because of Madoka's chest, but Kasumi laughs, calling him lame. She asks why he would let that happen, leaving him totally stunned. Then she steps closer, blowing smoke in his face, and reveals she recorded him for the sexual harassment card, planning to ruin his life. He tries to defend himself, pointing out that her behavior is out of character, and even mentions that smoking isn't good for their future kids. Kasumi grabs him and questions what he's talking about, saying they've only been together for a few days. He insists that's plenty of time for love to blossom. She laughs and mocks him, calling him a creep and a virgin loser, poking fun at how he thought they'd be together forever. Then she presses her lit cigarette against her head and laughs, saying it's a nightmare that she fell for a potato-faced loser like him, calling him a dumbass. He's hurt, realizing all the girls are finding this hilarious. Kasumi thinks it's funny too, especially since he was actually planning a marriage. She smacks him with her phone, complaining that his breath stinks. Blood drips onto her shoes, and she freaks out, worried they got messed up. She tells him to move and orders Madoka to lick the blood off her shoes. Madoka looks terrified but does it, while Kasumi keeps teasing her about how it tastes. Madoka ends up in tears as Kasumi keeps going. Then, she calls our guy over and pulls out a trimmer, joking about shaving Madoka's head like she might keep her as a pet. He's totally caught off guard. Kasumi decides Madoka might look better with a 5mm cut. Her friends joke that she'll be practically bald. He hears Madoka protesting that she didn't want this, asking if everything before was a lie. Kasumi says it should be obvious, and anyone normal would get that. Realizing how chaotic it's become, our guy takes the trimmer. Kasumi calls him a good boy, standing in front of Madoka and urging him to hurry. He starts trimming, but surprisingly, he's not going for Madoka's hair. He's actually trimming Kasumi's from the middle. She's left completely stunned. He casually tells her it looks better and asks if it's not like a new trend. Kasumi freaks out the moment she realizes a chunk of her hair's been cut. She grabs the strands, looks at herself through the camera, and lets out a scream that could wake the dead. Akihito-kun grinned, asking if it was some new trend that reminded him of school, which he called the legendary fallen warrior haircut. Kasumi's straight up fuming now. The girls around her freeze, and one lets out a tiny laugh. Big mistake. Kasumi snaps, asks who did it, and they all start panicking, denying everything. She grabs the hair cutter from Akihito and smashes it right into the girl's face. Then she goes wild, throwing hits left and right till everyone's down. When it's over, she glares at Akihito, promising he's next, and she's sending him straight to hell. The scene cuts to Madoka dragging Akihito by the hand, running as fast as she can. When they finally stop, she catches her breath and says sorry. She admits she thought he was just some clueless guy, which stuns him for a sec. But before he can speak, she says he's not dumb, just way too pure. Akihito says he should be the one saying sorry since she confused him too, and if she didn't like something, she could have just said it. Madoka shakes her head, saying she can't. She explains the Kujo group, a local Yakuza gang, basically owns the area, and Kasumi's dad is their boss, which is how she runs the whole school like her personal kingdom, crushing anyone who stands against her. Madoka tells him how her friend once tried to stop Kasumi, but it ended horribly. Kasumi drags the girl to the the rooftop. The girl is weeping, but Kasumi laughs and says fly, and then pushes her off while shouting, fly! The girl falls, breaks her arm, and Kasumi just laughs about it. Madoka tries to speak up, saying it's too much, but Kasumi forces her to laugh too, grabbing her by the jaw and mocking her. Madoka says she tried to report it to a teacher she trusted, thinking someone would finally stop Kasumi, but the next day, the teacher had joined Kasumi's side. The teacher exposed Madoka for tattling, and Kasumi promised to make her suffer worse than death. Since then, every day has been pure torture. When Akihito hears this, he just laughs and says she is not alone. He's got her back. Madoka warns going against Kasumi is dangerous, but Akihito stays chill, saying he already cracked her skull once, so what can a Yakuza really do, since he is a criminal? Madoka, stunned, calls him weird but brave, and says maybe he actually can shake things up. They decide to head home for the day. The next morning, the teacher notices both Kasumi and Madoka are missing. Akihito wonders if they just caught a cold or something, but before class can settle, the door bursts open. Some men step in, like they own the place. Akihito stands up, ready to fight, but one of them smirks and says, "This place is your graveyard." Kasumi asks about the hotel suite run by their group, and jokes that Akihito is probably getting his ass kicked right now. Meanwhile, Madoka is handcuffed on the floor in a bikini while Kasumi films her. Kasumi taunts her, saying some nasty old guys are about to show up, so she might as well let them have fun. Madoka snaps and smacks her back, promising she'll record everything. Panic hits Madoka, realizing Akihito is stuck in this mess because of her wishing someone would just step in. Kasumi smirks and says they're here, and swings the door open, greeting whoever's coming. Out of nowhere, a jab smashes Kasumi right in the face, and she crashes hard to the ground. A phone pops up showing her power level at 150p. The attacker says that's even higher than the Mineta brothers. Meanwhile, Madoka goes jaw drops, but honestly this punch is much needed. Then our boy shows up laughing, saying sorry but let me handle this. Kasumi is badly injured and yells at our guy asking how he got here. He says the men in black suits told him and that he just kept punching them until they spilled everything. Kasumi, still bleeding and shocked, realizes he took down all those guys alone and thinks who is this monster. Our boy looks at Madoka in shock, saying he can't believe she got caught. She panics, saying he saved her, and he laughs, but before he can say more, she shouts that she's Kujo's daughter and won't die in some dump. Suddenly, Dumoto steps up. Our boy glares at him, saying he only wants Kasumi. Dumoto scoffs, calling him a brat and warning that he won't leave alive after touching the lady. But our boy doesn't wait. He punches Dumoto right in the face. Blood sprays from Dumoto's nose. Furious, he asks what's wrong with him, but our boy just punches again. Dumoto growls, mocking him for trying to imitate boxing. Then he grabs our boy by the shirt and flips him hard onto the ground. The boy hits the floor with a thud. Dumoto grabs him again, slams him down, and Kasumi laughs from the side. The boy pushes himself up again, grinning like a maniac, saying he's not some regular high school kid, he's the criminal transfer student. Dumoto looks pissed off. The boy rips his shirt off, bragging that if there's no shirt to grab, there's no throw. But Dumoto doesn't care, he just grabs him by the collarbone and slams him down like it's nothing. Kasumi's cracking up, saying she told him it's pointless since Dumoto's grip strength is on another level. Then, out of nowhere, the boy stands up again like nothing even happened. Everyone's stunned. Dumoto just stares, asking if the kid's trained in judo. The boy laughs it off, saying nah, never touched it. Maybe he's just used to it, cause his mom used to toss him around when he was younger. Dumoto rushes in, grabs the boy's arms, locks his legs around him, and tries to snap his right arm. He growls that once he's done with one, the other's next. But the boy just smirks, and out of nowhere, Dumoto takes a full hit to the face. He's stunned for a second before realizing the boy actually broke his own arm just to land that punch. Kasumi yells at Dumoto to stop standing there like a clown. He grunts that it's fine since the kid's right arm is already trashed. But the boy keeps charging in. Dumoto reaches for his left arm, only to take another punch straight to the face. Blood spills from his mouth as he flips the boy over again. Kasumi's frozen, wondering what happened to that useless arm talk. The boy pushes up, grinning through the pain, flexing his busted arm like it's no big deal, saying it still works just fine. Dumoto's lying flat on the ground, while Kasumi's yelling that he's really letting a dude with a broken arm beat him up. That fires him up, thinking that no matter how many bones this guy breaks, he's still down to fight. In the end, Dumoto admits defeat. The boy looks a bit surprised when Dumoto reaches out for a handshake, and even laughs, saying he didn't expect him to be that honest. But out of nowhere, Dumoto fakes it and swings at him. The boy flinches back, clutching his collarbone, but before he can react, Dumoto rushes in and lands a punch. The hit bends the boy backward, eyes wide in shock. Dumoto says he's gonna win with just judo and kicks the boy's leg, bragging that technique always wins. The boy pushes back and glares up from the ground, but Dumoto grabs his arm, lifts him, and slams him onto a table. Kasumi laughs, calling it the perfect shoulder carry, and teases Madoka for hoping the boy would win. Madoka bursts into tears tears while Kasumi mocks her, saying there's no happy ending for her. Dumoto leans over, saying the boy already lost, and that his overconfidence is his downfall. The boy's eyes go blank and his lenses vanish, but he suddenly grabs Dumoto's arm. Dumoto's shocked, thinking he should be out cold, but the boy just grins. Dumoto yells that all he can do is punch, and he'll never lose to someone like him. Then the boy lifts Dumoto onto his shoulder, saying the move works even with one hand. Kasumi screams in disbelief at his strength, and the boy tells Dumoto he already lost the moment he thought the boy didn't know judo. Dumoto panics, thinking this crazy kid might actually toss him out the window. He fights back and pulls our boy toward him, but the boy tries to stay balanced. Dumoto complains that the kid's dragging him down too, and the boy just grins, saying that's the plan. They crash through the window together, glass flying everywhere, and plunge downward. The boy glances at Madoka, calling out he'll be back soon, and hits the water with a massive splash. Fish shoot straight into Dumoto's mouth as they hit the water. Upstairs, Kasumi freezes in shock and tries to run, but Madoka grabs her and won't let go until the boy comes back. Kasumi screams at her to let go, but Madoka holds tighter. The boy shows up laughing, and Kasumi panics, apologizing and begging for mercy. She offers him money, but he refuses. In desperation, she even offers to let him touch her chest. The boy asks if she's serious, and she nods, grinning as she opens her shirt. Just as he moves closer, Kasumi swings a screwdriver at him. He dodges smoothly, grabs her chest mid-attack, shocking her, then punches her in the face. Blood drips from her nose as he stands there, saying goodbye to his youth. Profile pics float across the screen as the report wraps up. The second school case is closed. Kasumi Kujo, the chairman's daughter, turned herself in, and the bullies got what was coming. The rules still stand, but people have questions. They push the project forward, so the Special Education Bureau does not flop. Scene flips. Fuyumi is walking when a random guy snaps her pic. She glares instantly and storms over to demand his phone. When he turns around, she freezes. It is Director Sakaki. At a restaurant, Sakaki praises Fuyumi for handling cases even the Bureau struggled with. She admits she's surprised. Akihito pulled it off. Sakaki talks about the evil point system, amazed it can judge people instantly. Fuyumi explains it's facial recognition tied to Tokyo's data, which shocks him when he realizes it's part of a secret nationwide government surveillance program. Sakaki nods, saying the government keeps the Special Education Bureau low-key. As long as the project works, they're fine. If it fails, Fuyumi promises to take full responsibility. He says that's gutsy for her age and asks which school is next. After a pause, she says Hoshikyo High. He raises a brow. It's known for strict discipline, but she admits there's a rumor that's bugging her. Cut to our boy and Madoka hanging out. She teases him, saying he's already living the wild life. He jokes that he's a busy criminal transfer student. They swap numbers, and he tells her to call. If anything happens, he'll transfer in right away. She smiles and agrees. Next morning, he's eating breakfast and checks his score 610 points this time. The last school gave 150, so Fuyumi totals it to 700, about 2 years worth. She tells him to keep it up. He admits he learned judging people by appearances was dumb, and he should try to understand them better. She nods and says he should reflect and think carefully about his next move. He agrees. He heads to his new school thinking it's just up ahead, but suddenly 3 guys in the same uniform block his way. He wonders what their deal is. As he tries to walk past, one stops him and makes a comment about his hair. Before he can answer, the guy grabs him and insults his hair color and face. They demand his class and student number, and he says he's a transfer. The guy shoves him and says he doesn't care. Our boy glares and punches back. More guys show up yelling, and the one who got hit asks if he knows who he just punched. He shrugs and says he doesn't care. They shout that they're the discipline committee, claiming they cut down evil and bring hope to the academy. He rolls his eyes, saying he didn't dye his hair and only hit back in self-defense, but they don't listen. Surrounded, he mutters that Fuyumi's gonna scold him again, but he's ready to fight. Then someone new walks in. The others bow immediately. It's the chairman. They explain the new kid broke 3 rules on day 1. The chairman grabs a wooden sword and charges. Our boy tries to dodge, but still takes a hit to the chest as the chairman says, justice must be enforced. The chairman smacks our boy out of nowhere, slamming him to the ground. The boy yells, "What the hell's your problem?" But the chairman just grabs his hair, sniffs it, and goes, "There's no bleach smell. It's natural." Our boy snaps back like, "Yeah, that's what I've been saying." Then the chairman tells him to take it off, and he's like, "Can't. It'll explode." The chairman pauses, says, "Got it," like it's no big deal. Then one of the other guys freaks out, yelling that the boy just attacked a disciplinary officer. The chairman shuts him down, saying you probably assumed he was a rule breaker and jumped him. Be careful next time. Then he looks at our boy and says it's almost time for assembly, and goes back to class. Our boy thinks maybe he's not such a bad guy. But later, in class, he's already exhausted and just resting his head. The man next to him notices he's in the same class. When the morning assembly starts, our boy's zoning out until someone suddenly grabs his ear and yells at him to stand up. The man shouts Article 1, and everyone in class nervously recites something about respecting human rights and dignity. Then, Article 2, eliminate evil and injustice. Our boy tries to tell them about the third article, some half-remembered line, and the guy slams his face on the desk, yelling, "Where's your brain?" Later, the dude's all about justice and keeps smacking him around for sleeping or slouching. Finally, it's lunch break, and our boys were hyped to eat what Fuyumi made hamburger steak. But before he can take a bite, that same man shows up, calls it disgusting, and throws the whole lunch into the air. Our boy dives, catches it midair, and crashes to the floor, yelling, "What's your deal?" The guy goes off again, saying outside food's gross since the school provides perfectly balanced meals made by top nutritionists. Then he forces our boy to drink some nasty green juice. Our boy chokes it down, coughing, and grumbles about how this school's obsessed with rules for literally everything. As he's walking out, he spots two students fighting, one demanding point from the other. The boy notices the guy's only got 4 points. Then suddenly, the chairman appears behind him. Our boy freezes, thinking he's about to get smacked again, but instead, the chairman smiles and says, "Amazing, defeating evil is justice." He even offers a handshake, saying, "Akihito, let's save this school together." Our boy hesitates, but when he realizes it could earn him points, he's in. They shake hands, and the chairman says, "See you tomorrow." But once our boy's gone, the chairman's whole vibe flips. He beats another student bloody with his wooden sword, calling him scum who never learns, then licks the blood off his cheek and mutters that he'll destroy evil. The scene kicks off with Shiba and our boy laughing while beating down some thugs together. Once it's over, Shiba walks up to this trembling student and tells him not to worry anymore, that as long as he's around, justice won't die. The boy thanks him, and Shiba tells him to stay under the moral committee's supervision, so delinquents can't mess with him. Feeling all heroic, Shiba smirks and goes, "Another great day enforcing justice." Our boy watches him and thinks how his first impression of Shiba was terrible, but turns out the guy's actually pretty solid. Then he notices a guy knocked out cold nearby, scans him with his phone, and mutters that the dude's got 10 evil points. Seems about right. Out of nowhere, Shiba appears beside him and asks what he's doing. Our boy hesitates but explains that if you point the phone like this, you can see people's evil points. Shiba's eyes widen, then he suddenly snatches the phone and says that having a smartphone breaks school rules, so he'll hold on to it. Our boy freaks out and tells him to give it back, but Shiba just says he's busy and walks off, leaving our boy yelling that he's gonna get in trouble for this. Cut to the chairman's office. Shiba reports that this week's rule violations dropped to single digits. The chairman praises him, saying the school used to be full of delinquents, but is now one of the most disciplined in Japan. Shiba thanks him, and then asks about the new transfer student, Akihito. The chairman admits he doesn't know much, except the kid's apparently a government agent. That surprises Shiba, but also makes things click for him. Then, Shiba pulls out a proposal, saying he plans to control every second of student behavior to make the school perfectly disciplined. The chairman looks uneasy, saying that sounds like stripping students of their freedom. Shiba tilts his head, and then raises the phone, calling out the chairman for embezzlement and harassment. The man panics, wondering how Shiba found out. Calmly, Shiba tells him to just approve the plan. It'll make the school's reputation shine. Anyway, he leaves the office thinking that although the phone's locked except for one function, he'll eventually unlock everything for his grand plan. Meanwhile, Akihito's hanging out with Fuyumi, saying at first he thought the committee was shady, but they're actually trying to fix the school, though he still hates the cafeteria food. Fuyumi tells him to keep investigating, and he agrees. In his head, Akihito jokes that his daily routine is eating bad lunches, busting delinquents, and surviving the chaos. Later, while walking through the hall, Shiba thanks Akihito for helping restore order, saying the school's almost at his ideal level. Akihito laughs, saying that's natural since he's the criminal transfer student. Shiba freezes at that, confused. Before he can ask more, a group of students call out, rushing somewhere. As one boy runs past, Shiba suddenly shoves him hard, slamming him to the ground. Akihito's eyes widened. What the hell was that about? The boy who falls down the stairs is screaming in pain. Our boy rushes to him and asks if he's okay, trying to help him stand. Just then, Shiba glares and asks why he's helping evil, yelling that his hand will get dirty. Our boy looks confused and says the guy just skipped a step. Anyone could do that. Shiba repeats it coldly, saying anyone could do it, like crossing a red light when no one is watching or watching a pirated video. Small things people ignore pile up and create evil in the world. Our boy freezes, not knowing what to say. Meanwhile, the guy who fell tries to stand, but Shiba scans him and mutters that government prototypes are useless. That's when our boy shouts for him to give his smartphone back. Shiba reminds him that phones are against school rules, but our boy shoots back, asking why it isn't a violation when he uses one. Shiba pauses for a second, agrees that's true, then drops the phone on the ground and stomps it to pieces. Our boy yells in anger, but Shiba just looks at him and says this is enough. He says the school will be reborn, and his justice enforcement plan has begun. He tells our boy to look forward to it, but our boy just stands there thinking, what even is this justice enforcement plan? The scene shifts to later that morning. Our boy is running down the street, muttering that he's going to be late because he took too long eating breakfast. If this keeps up, he thinks, Shiba's gonna lose it to me. He finally makes it to school, panting hard, checking his watch, relieved that he barely made it in time. But as he stops, he notices something weird. The atmosphere feels off. An enforcement officer grabs a student who's been running too and punches him in the face. The officer yells that he's 1 second late late and calls him insane. Our boy freezes in shock. Another officer starts scolding him for his messy uniform, yelling at him to fix his tie. While nearby, a female officer is beating a girl for having her skirt 2 millimeters too short, shouting at her to pull it down. Then Shiba shows up. Our boy nervously says that the punishments seem harsher than before. Shiba calmly replies that it wasn't harsh enough earlier, that the rules had just been too lenient. Right after that, Shiba spots a girl and calls out to her, saying her hair is dyed, which is against school rules. The girl quickly says she's already been warned before and dyed it black. Our boy steps in, saying she isn't breaking any rules now, but Shiba ignores him, grabs a bucket of water, and yanks the girl by her hair, dipping it in. The girl cries out while he says there are still 2 strands that aren't black enough, and she needs to dye it properly. Our boy rushes forward, shouting for him to stop, but Shiba turns sharply, asking what he means by enough. He reminds our boy about what they talked about before, saying that interfering is just another way of justifying evil. He asks if what he's doing is wrong. Our boy, shaking and freaked out, says no, it's not wrong. Shiba laughs and says that's exactly right. He steps closer, presses a hand on his chest, and says this is what justice looks like. As Shiba walks away, our boy stands there dazed, thinking, I don't get it, what even counts as justice. The next morning, Akihito sits at the table staring at his food. Fuyumi tells him it's going to get cold. When she asks if something happened at school, he quietly asks what is justice. Her eyes widen and she asks if he's feeling sick. He explains Shiba has been punishing students for doing bad things, but it's starting to feel wrong, and he doesn't know why. Fuyumi sighs and says not everyone agrees on right and wrong. Good and evil depend on people's values. In the end, justice is just the right you believe in. Akihito thinks about it, the right I believe in, huh? Fuyumi smiles and says some might think he's wrong, but she believes in him and knows he'll make the school better like before. Her words remind him of Madoka's voice in his memory, thanking him for coming to school and saying he might be the one to change it. Fuyumi adds softly that he is Akihito, and he should believe in himself and in what feels right. He thanks her quietly. That night, Shiba sits alone in the morals committee room, putting 2 swords on the table. He picks one up and mutters to himself that everything he does is for justice. The next morning, the school assembly begins. Students stand in rows as a voice calls for order. Shiba steps onto the stage and shouts that justice is unity. The crowd echoes uncertainly. He says Article 1, and students reciting the school's justice articles. 2. Respect human rights, fight wrongdoing, promote equality, and eliminate discrimination. Then he declares the start of the Justice Enforcement Plan. He orders everyone to follow the Morals Committee's instructions, baggage checks, uniform inspections, and haircuts to create a school full of smiles and free from evil. Suddenly, someone yells from the crowd. Everyone turns to see Akihito entering the hall. Sorry, Shiba, he is late. Then a man glares and punches him by saying he attacked a Morals Committee member. Akihito walks forward and punches another him without hesitation. Shiba looks shocked and asks what this means. Akihito stares back and says, yeah, he was late and hit someone, but what are you going to do about it? Shiba calls it a serious offense but says since Akihito fits his ideal of justice, he will forgive him if he apologizes. Akihito smirks and says Fuyumi was right and from now on he will beat Shiba up. Shiba's expression hardens. Our boy says he thinks Shiba is wrong. He says it's a shame. He thought they could understand each other. Then he grins and says it's fine then. True justice never sides with evil. He unsheathes his sword. Akihito cracks his knuckles and grins back. Now that's what he's talking about. Shiba raises his blade and declares that in the name of his justice, he will judge Akihito. Akihito squares up, ready to fight. Bring it on, justice man. Our boy and Shiba stand on the ground, both ready to fight. Shiba says, in the name of my justice, he shall judge our boy. Our boy glares at him and says, come at me, justice man. Some of the students in the audience whisper that the sword is real. If it is, that's a violation of the sword and firearms control. Suddenly, one of the committee officers rushes in and smacks the teacher's face, saying, no chatting allowed, you to fool. Whether teacher or not, anyone who breaks the rules will be punished. Right away, our boy steps forward, punches the officer in the face, and says, yeah, you took the crime of speaking. The man stumbles and shouts, you bastard, trying to fight back. Shiba raises his sword, saying, stop it, you are not capable. The judgment for him will be passed by me. He adds, you shouldn't add more sins than this. He puts his sword on our boy's neck. Our boy stays calm and asks one thing. Shiba asks what it is and if he will accept his sin. Our boy points at the sword and says it looks insanely cool. Shiba looks confused and says he doesn't understand him. He can see how amazing this sword is, so why do Akihito reject his justice? Without hesitation, Shiba charges forward, swinging his sword, but our boy quickly leans back, dodging the attack. Shiba doesn't stop. He keeps slashing while our boy tries to escape. As he runs, Shiba yells for the sake of everyone he is the enforcer of justice, he will eliminate evil like him. Our boy keeps dodging until he crashes into a desk and everything falls to the floor. He spots something and mutters, this is. Shiba freezes for a second, giving our boy a chance. Our hero grabs an umbrella from the ground and strikes back at Shiba. Holding it firmly, our boy grins, saying Akihito, special sword. Shiba frowns, saying what a vulgar way to fight. Our boy snaps shut up. Both of them face each other with weapons ready. Shiba says seriously he guess he's been underestimated too, then shouts Justice slash. Our boy laughs, saying, "What's with that weird name?" But before he can finish, Shiba slashes him at the back of the neck. Blood splatters and the glass shatters. Our boy grins through the pain, but Shiba slashes again, hitting the front of his neck. He holds up his umbrella as a shield, but it splits clean in half. Shiba scoffs pathetic and drives his sword forward again, hitting our boy's body. Blood drips down as our boy gasps, and he cuts through my umbrella. Shiba steps closer, stabbing again, saying any evil must kneel before justice. Our boy coughs and shouts why he is so obsessed with rules. Shiba asks if he needs a reason to do the right thing. Our boy yells that's why he is going too far. He shoves Shiba back, grabs 2 wooden swords, and shouts let's go. He charges forward, stopping in a fierce stance, saying Akihito-kun special. Shiba looks surprised. Our boy leaps high and slams both swords into Shiba's chest. Shiba's uniform tears and his chest pocket rips open, spilling everything. Our boy blinks, saying something fell. Shiba yells, "Give it back! Hurry, give it back!" Our boy looks at the item and says, "Is this his by any chance? Bringing this here is against school rules, right?" Shiba's anger explodes as he says, "Don't touch it with your filthy hands, this is my medal of justice." Shiba starts explaining how it all began, back when he was a lonely kid with no friends, just anime and snacks after school. One day he watched this scene. The city was wrecked, chaos everywhere, and then the hero of justice showed up. The hero yelled at the villain to stop destroying the city, but the villain snapped back, saying he was just rebuilding it. The hero didn't care. He said something epic about cutting down evil in the name of justice, did his cool justice slash and won the fight. The people thanked him, and he said he helped, because their eyes were crying out for help. That moment hit Shiba hard. From that day, the hero became his idol. Years later, Shiba is walking home and sees a thief snatch a lady's purse. The guy shoves people aside, yelling, and runs off. Shiba panics but remembers his hero's words. Something snaps inside him. He charges in, thinking in the name of justice, and punches the thief square in the face. The crowd cheers. The teacher calls him the pride of the class. The police even praise him. Everyone smiles at him like he's a real hero, and Shiba feels warm inside. Justice makes everyone happy, he thinks, so he keeps doing it, helping people, catching delinquents, cleaning up the school. But slowly something changes. People stop praising him. They start whispering behind his back, saying he went too far again. And that messes him up. He starts thinking, maybe he's not doing enough. Maybe he needs to completely wipe out evil to make everyone smile again. Now in the present, Shiba faces our boy on the ground, telling him this is his vow to protect smiles by destroying evil. But our boy just stares at him and says that nobody's smiling. That hits Shiba like a punch. He yells confused, asking why no one's grateful anymore. Our boy steps closer and says, the reason's simple. The biggest evil in this school right now is you. Shiba freezes. His eyes shake like he can't believe it. Our boy smirks and says what everyone's been thinking. Shiba didn't care about justice. He just wanted to be praised. Then he ends it with, don't drag everyone down with your fake sense of justice. Shiba snaps in anger and pulls out his wooden sword, yelling for our boy to give back the sticker. Our boy grabs his own sword and smirks, saying he'll end this with one kick. The tension spikes, both of them ready to go. Shiba grips his sword tight and shouts, justice slash. Our boy grins and yells, let's go, as they both charge at each other at full speed. Shiba's strike lands first, sending our boy flying to the ground. Everyone watching freezes in shock. Shiba straightens up and says all proud justice will always win. He is about to call everyone back to the morning assembly when our boy suddenly jumps up with a grin and shouts, he is still here, man of justice. Before Shiba can react, our boy rushes in and lands a clean hit across him, the impact echoing through the ground. Seeing Shiba lying on the ground, he instantly remembers why this moment feels so familiar. Our boy lifts his shirt a little and says he's blocking everything with a single punch. Shiba suddenly gets back on his feet, using a textbook as a shield, complaining about how vulgar that fighting style is. Our boy looks at him and says, Shiba has clearly never cut anyone before, because he doesn't even know the difference between slicing a book and a human. Shiba shoots back, asking if he has, since he talks like he knows. That question pulls our boy into a flashback of his past life as a criminal, when he doesn't know what good or bad even means, and is just trying to eat and survive. Shiba stares at him and asks who he really is. Our boy snaps back and says he's a former criminal transfer student. Shiba accepts it, turns around, and suddenly says he lost and needs to take responsibility. He grabs a mic, walks on stage, and apologizes to everyone, admitting he used justice to act superior and ended up hurting people. The whole crowd freezes in shock, but then someone yells that an apology isn't enough. A stone hits Shiba's head, and suddenly everyone starts throwing stones. Shiba doesn't resist. He tells them to do whatever they want, but reminds them that his committee only acted on his orders. His followers look stunned, but the angry students don't stop. They charged at Shiba, punching and kicking him, slamming him to the ground, shouting about how he acted better than teachers and ruined their school life. Someone grabs his card, calls it his treasure, and rips it apart while Shiba screams for them to stop. Our boy steps in, grabs the arm of the students, and says, give it back to Shiba, and push the student on the ground and tell everyone to back off. He says Shiba did awful things, but is actually trying to change, and they owe him that much. He warns that if anyone touches Shiba again, he'll knock them out. Then he helps Shiba up, hands him him the card, and cuts off his question by saying his eyes were clearly calling for help. That hits Shiba hard. Our boy sits next to him and says they're alike. He explains he also committed a crime once, but someone named Fuyumi listened to him and helped him realize his mistake. He wants to be that kind of person for Shiba too. Shiba quietly asks if he can really start over. Our boy smiles and says it depends on him, admitting he's still trying to start over himself. He puts the card in Shiba's hands. Meanwhile, a girl hiding behind a wall watches everything. She licks her lollipop, grins, and says the coming day. Back at school, Director Skaki is explaining how the so-called school with the best morals in Japan is actually being run like someone's personal territory, all controlled by one high schooler. And of course, the criminal transfer student situation is part of it again. When the director asks if something is wrong, Fuyumi brings up the issue, but the director waves it off, saying he has already made a decision based on past results and the next school. He adds that it would be too much for Akihito to handle alone. The scene shifts to Fuyumi drying our boy's hair. She asks if his injuries are alright, and he casually lifts his shirt halfway, saying he feels totally fine now. She laughs, telling him there's no need to undress. Even though this is his third big injury, he keeps recovering freakishly fast, and seeing him grow every day makes her genuinely happy. But right when she gets emotional, he cuts in and asks what the next school is. She goes quiet. He says he has taken down troublemakers in so many schools already, and he wants to help even more people. She admits she might be overthinking things. Fuyumi tells him that this time he won't be going alone. Our boy instantly asks if it's her, but she explains she isn't the second transfer student. He shouts, confused, and she tells him there's someone else who went through the same facility training he did. He insists he can handle everything by himself, but she says he and that person will be transferred together to the next school, and he better not pick a fight with them. Cut to the new school. Our boy arrives, looking around like, this should be the place. He wonders what kind of second criminal transfer student they're sending now, because honestly, with him here, no one else should even be necessary. Then he hears an old creep pestering a girl. The guy keeps calling out to her, but she ignores him until he touches her. She instantly launches him into the water with a brutal kick, telling him to cool his head and everything else. She even rinses his gross-smelling mouth with a splash. Our boy freezes when her lifted leg accidentally shows her underwear. She catches him instantly and calls him out for peeking, even dropping his name. He's shocked and asks how she knows him. She introduces herself as Yukibi, a criminal transfer student just like him. He yells in surprise, and she says the staff should have told him already. He says Fuyumi did mention a second transfer, but he didn't expect it to be a girl. Yukibi stands there holding a belt, walks right up to him, grabs his collar, and before he can react, she wraps the belt around his neck and pulls the strap tight, saying that introductions are officially done. Our boy and Yukibi walk into the classroom and introduce themselves. Our boy gives his name and says, "Nice to meet you." Yukibi follows up, super polite, telling everyone she hopes they can get along. The whole class immediately starts whispering about how cute she is. Someone offers her an empty seat, but our boy blurts out that the seat next to him is open. On their way to sit down, Yukibi quietly tells him he doesn't need to do anything at this school, just don't drag her down. Our boy fires back, asking what her problem is, but she just leaves him hanging. He shouts after her not to ignore him. She then apologizes in her head because she already knows they're not going to get along. When class ends, the entire room crowds around the two transfer students. People tell our boy transfer students are rare, especially two at the same time. Someone asks why he's wearing a collar. The girls gather around Yukibi asking about her cosmetics, and another girl gives her a cute box of candy as a friendship token. Yukibi just stares at her. Then the girl takes a candy ball out of the box and gives one to our boy. Our boy thanks her and wonders why everyone is being so nice. But then Yukibi suddenly slaps him so hard he falls, and the candy smashes on the floor. Our boy jumps up yelling at her, saying he just wanted to eat the candy. Yukibi grabs his face and drags him outside. Outside, she tells him he's way too careless for a so-called criminal transfer student. He insists he's careful. She holds up the candy ball and tells him it's an illegal drug disguised as candy. He's shocked, saying it looked normal, and he thought drugs were all medicine-like. She explains that some drugs are made to look cute and sweet. When he asks how she knows, she casually admits she used to take them. He freaks out, calling her a bad person, but she reminds him he's no different. He claims he's a good guy, which makes her call him even more childish than she expected. He gets mad, she gets annoyed, and she suggests they should just go their separate ways. He immediately agrees and walks off. Yukibi stands there thinking that if one student had drugs, others probably do too. She decides to investigate the school on her own. She goes back to the classroom still strategizing, but freezes when she opens the door. Everyone inside is acting like zombies, totally drugged out, even our boy. Yukibi just stares, shocked, wondering what kind of nightmare she just walked into. Yukibi suddenly suddenly steps in and goes, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" Our boy just shrugs and says, "We're on separate missions, right? So don't get in my way." She fires back asking if he licked the candy, and he's like, he didn't lick it, he just thought about it. Before they can argue more, a random guy pops up and goes, "Sorry to cut in, but what class are you two from?" Yukibi shoots him a deadly glare, but another student rushes over and explains they're transfer students. The first guy suddenly bursts into laughter and welcomes them to the high school's drug enthusiastic club. Our boy freezes and blurts out a drug enthusiastic club. The student laughs harder and says it's basically a group where everyone does drugs to stay happy together, and introduces their advisor, Mr. Tamura. Yukibi instantly says she knew it. This whole school is a drug-fueled nightmare. The student starts rambling like hell. Yeah, he gets it. Totally makes sense. And then he just bursts into tears. Our boy panics and asks if they're hurt, and the kid sniffles saying drugs are scary but you get used to it. Even cola was scary once. Another student jumps in saying the drugs Yakushiji gives them hit perfectly and make them forget all their problems. Yukibi has enough and smacks that guy hard. She snaps that they're not free, they only feel like it, and running from reality won't fix anything. She demands to know where this Yakushiji is. The students suddenly flip and start screaming about killing the intruders who are ruining their paradise. Our boy cracks his knuckles like if he wanna go, he's pretty strong. But before he even moves, Yukibi blitzes past him ridiculously fast, knocks a guy down, and grabs him by the collar. She tells him to take them to wherever Yakushiji is distributing his drugs. The terrified student agrees and leads them through the hallway. While walking, our boy mutters that she was surprisingly strong this morning. They reach a door, the student hesitates, and our boy opens it like, "Excuse us, is Yakushiji here?" Inside, someone is ranting about their own genius, calling themselves beautiful and divine, then stops and asks who they are. Yukibi thinks drugs are actually being manufactured at school. As soon as they walk in, he steps forward and says the area is off limits, demanding to know who they are. Our boy immediately blurts out Akihito-kun, claiming he's the criminal transfer student. She mentally facepalms, wondering why he can't ever be careful. Yakushiji hears that and actually flinches at the words criminal transfer student, but then instantly switches gears and pretends he finds it interesting. He says our boy might actually be the second best genius after him, then proudly introduces himself as Yakushiji, the genius. Our boy responds politely, while she thinks she doesn't really understand this guy, but at least he seems harmless, which honestly works in their favor. Yakushiji asks what they want from this so-called genius, and she steps up, saying she heard a rumor that he's making drugs. Yakushiji casually assumes they want a taste of his masterpiece, Lucifer. That shocks the boy, and when he asks about it, Yakushiji reveals the candy-like drug, calling it beautiful, and claiming it can turn anyone into a genius. She realizes it's the same candy the students in her class were carrying. She asks if he's the one making it, and Yakushiji proudly says yes, because he's a genius. Yakushiji beside him spreads his arms dramatically, showing off all the stash. She walks closer, amazed, saying all of these are drugs. Yakushiji starts explaining, but before he can finish, she slips, sending all the drugs scattering across the floor. The man instantly starts crying and scrambling to collect them, yelling, "What have you done?" He then mutters that this is very bad, and weirdly lets out a tiny laugh. She snaps at him, demanding to know if he understands how many people have suffered because of this. Yakushiji panics and says he never wanted things to turn out this way. When she asks what he means, he explains that he only wanted extra pocket money, but his talent went way beyond what he expected. He accidentally created a drug that gives insane pleasure. At first, he sold it to school delinquents, then it spread through the whole school, and eventually even teachers started taking it. Rumors spread further, all the way into the underworld. One day, a Chinese mafia group heard about Lucifer and ordered him to make a batch every month. Now he's trapped and can't escape. She glares at him, while the boy asks if those guys are strong. Yakushiji says they have guns, and there's no way they can fight them. If he fails to deliver, he's done for. She asks him when the delivery is supposed to happen, and Yakushiji says it's scheduled for 7 tonight. She glances at the clock and goes, 7 tonight as in right now? The boy jumps in like, hey, isn't it already past that? The scene cuts to outside the school, where a heavy truck rolls up with a group of people, and then a full-on mafia squad steps out. As the mafia goons storm into the school, Yakushiji totally freaks out. He rushes over, leaving our guy and Yukibi surprised. The goons are caught off guard too. Yakushiji jumps in, saying he's run into a bit of genius-level trouble, and asks them to hold on for a minute. But all he gets is a brutal punch right in the face. Then the goon follows it up with a vicious knee strike, completely wrecking him. The goon drags him around by his hair after that. So, our dude with Yukibi jumps in and tells everyone to hang on a sec. Yukibi figures out that the two guys are dealers and tells them to take her to where the deal's happening. everything. Meanwhile, Yakushiji is totally crushed, just mumbling about both of them. Then the boss orders his goons to shut these two kids up, and they rush over to our guy and his buddy. Our guy's feeling pretty hyped, while Yukibi stays super chill. One of the goons rushes in, trying to throw a punch, but our guy quickly counters and slams him to the ground. He absolutely nails it. But just as he's feeling good, another goon comes in hot, ready to kick him right in the face. That's when Yukibi jumps in with her killer thighs and stops the goon in his tracks. Our guy thinks that was a pretty sweet move on her part. It's his turn now, and he takes a swing, landing a solid uppercut on that goon. The guy just crumples to the ground. Our dude feels pretty pumped about his strength. Meanwhile, Yukibi chimes in, wondering who he thinks he owes that to. Then, out of nowhere, blood splatters in front of him. Someone fired a shot. The boss steps in, warning them not to get too cocky. Blood drips down, and it turns out Yukibi's the one who got hit. She's super close to losing it, but instead of panicking, she starts unbuckling her belt. Our guy freaks out, thinking she's lost it from being shot, but he's like, "What's with the stripping?" She grabs her belt and gets ready for a showdown. The goon is all hyped up, wondering if a belt can even compete with a gun, but she charges in, swinging the belt, which just stretches out, totally freaking him out. She wraps it around his hand and starts dragging him toward her. Then, out of nowhere, she nails him with a vicious knee strike, and he's bleeding like crazy. She thinks guys are so predictable, they always judge by looks. All pumped, our guy asks if he can use the belt too, but she totally shuts him down. That's when he realizes that the guy in black and Yakushiji have vanished. On the cargo ship, Yakushiji is totally freaking out, begging for someone to save him, but then a guy shoves a gun in his mouth and tells him to zip it. He warns that if Yakushiji says another word, he's done for. He then turns to his boss and asks what the plan is. The boss orders them to take Yakushiji on board because they're going to take control of Lucifer. He promises Yakushiji that if he lends them his strength, they'll hook him up with a good deal. He also assures him that it'll be a fair partnership between them. Bright light floods the scene, leaving both of them a bit confused as a car pulls up in front of them. Our guy, super excited with Yukibi, jumps up, and when he sees them, he looks totally surprised. The goon who got his butt kicked brings them to the meeting spot and begs our guy to let him go. But Yukibi doesn't hold back and lays down the law, telling him he did a great job with the escort. She turns to the boss and says that everyone needs to face some consequences. But then, she's totally caught off guard when the boss seems to notice something. He turns around and spots a familiar face. Meanwhile, our guy is confused and asks who the heck that is. He's shocked, and the boss casually says it's nice to see her again. On the other side, she's just standing there, shaking and sweating like crazy. Yukibi starts to remember Christmas when her mom tells her to wait for a bit. She's only 6, so she agrees without a second thought. But then she sees her mom run off, and it hits her that she's been left behind. She ends up crying in the streets. Out of nowhere, some creep approaches her, saying he'll buy her some adult toys, but she claims she totally hates her. He starts to unbuckle his belt and makes it clear he wants her to play along, which freaks her out completely. Just when things look bad, someone jumps in to save her. That's when Yukibi realizes her mom isn't coming back. The chick that saves her glances her way, and it clicks for her. She asks if she wants to come chill at her place, and Yukibi is totally taken by surprise. She grabs her hand and says, "Let's go." When they get to her place, a bunch of other kids are there, all excited and welcoming, so she decides to get things ready. The kids are all super pumped. The chick suddenly turns to Yukibi and asks why she's just standing there, telling her to come inside. Yukibi can't help but wonder who this woman is. Meanwhile, all the kids are being served some mouth-watering fried chicken, and it's making everyone's mouths water. They all gather around the table and decide it's time to dig in. The chick tells her to pass the fried chicken to Akihito, who's being all careful with his chopsticks. Yukibi's watching everything go down, and the chick asks if she's hungry too, and tells her not to be shy. So, Yukibi hesitantly grabs a piece of fried chicken and starts munching on it. She gets a little too into it, and starts scarfing them down one after the other. The chick reminds her to take it easy since the food isn't going anywhere. Clara is hanging out with the kids when one of them asks if Yukibi will be living with them too. Yukibi is totally caught off guard and asks what they mean by that. Clara then asks if Yukibi doesn't want to be part of their family, which leaves Yukibi completely stunned. Later that night, as they're all brushing their teeth and getting ready for bed, the excitement is in the air. Clara calls out, and a few of the kids chime in for Yukibi. Mio, the oldest, tells her not to hesitate if she needs anything. Yukibi points out that Clara didn't just bring her hair for herself, and another kid chimes in saying they're all in the same boat. Even though they call each other family, none of them are actually related by blood. Yukibi realizes that if Clara says anything, it might upset Clara because she's taking in kids like them who have nowhere else to go. When Clara asks if Yukibi doesn't want to be part of their family, Yukibi starts to think about it. One of the kids thinks Clara is amazing for managing everything on her own while taking care of all of them. Clara pipes up, wondering why they're being so loud when it's already bedtime. She tells everyone to hit the hay quietly and switches off the lights, saying goodnight. Later that night, while everyone's snoozing, Yukibi can't seem to fall asleep. Suddenly, the door creaks open, and it's Clara checking if everyone's out like a light. Yukibi plays dead, shutting her eyes tight, but Clara spots her and grins. She walks over, reassures her not to worry, and tells her to sleep tight before heading back out. That leaves Yukibi feeling all emotional. It's nothing like how her mom used to treat her. Tears fill her eyes as she realizes just how cozy it feels here. The scene shifts to a warehouse where a guy is really laying into Clara, and she's even bleeding. He brings up that she's late but kinda shrugs it off, saying the kids were tough to get to sleep. Then, he casually admits he took it upon himself to punch her for being late and suggests they call it even. He goes on about how business needs to have some fairness to work right. Finally, he tells her to get to it and orders her to start working. The kids split up the chores to keep the house in order. It's been almost a year, and Yukibi has totally settled in with everyone. Clara gets home and lets everyone know that dinner is ready. They all rush to the table for a tasty meal. The kids start sharing stories with Clara, and there's lots of excitement in the air. Yukibi has really taken on the role of the big sister, so even when Clara's not around, the family feels secure. Clara knows she can count on Yukibi to look after everyone, and Yukibi feels good about it too. The next morning, Clara wakes everyone up and reminds them to hit the sack by 9. Christmas is just around the corner, and the kids are super hyped. They start asking if Yukibi is getting a present this year, but she insists she won't since she hasn't even gotten one for herself. So, the kids decide they're definitely getting her something special this time. They ask her if she wants anything, and Yukibi says she'd love some cute clothes. Meanwhile, Mio remembers that last Christmas was when Yukibi first showed up here. She was totally caught off guard, and it makes her wonder why Clara chose them in the first place. They've never actually asked about it. Yukibi starts to wonder why she even chose Clara. Meanwhile, Clara's just chilling and smoking a cigarette with a list of expenses in hand, trying to figure out her next move. In the next scene, they're out shopping for some stuff, and Yukibi calls out to her. She asks Clara why she picked her up in the first place. Then she adds that it's not just about her. She wants to know why Clara goes out of her way to help everyone. That really gets Clara thinking. She talks about how her parents abandoned her, and that totally caught Yukibi off guard. Clara shares that she had no one to turn to or reach out to, and honestly, she didn't even know why she was alive. She wanted to find a reason to live and discover her purpose. That's why she started adopting kids and became a mother to them. Before long, they all ended up forming this big family together. Yukibi asks if she's the reason. Clara is alive, and Clara hugs her tightly to confirm it. Just then, that jerk from before pops up out of nowhere, saying what a coincidence this is. Clara turns around, and Yukibi is surprised to see someone who actually knows Clara has shown up. He then turns to Yukibi, introducing himself as Ryoi, a work colleague of Clara. He thinks it's perfect timing since he really wanted to talk about work. Clara tells Yukibi to head home first, and Ryoi tells her to take care. Then he turns to Clara, asking if she's handled yesterday's order, and she confirms she has. He realizes he hasn't picked up any more supplies and asks if she's going to be spending more money now. She hesitates but eventually says yes. He wonders if it's a good sign that the young girl from earlier might turn into a real stunner someday, and he's sure she'll make a lot of money in the future. Clara suddenly snaps at him, warning that if he lays a finger on Yukibi, she'll kill him. He calls out to her, telling her not to worry. Looking a bit scared, she apologizes, but he reassures her that he sees her as an equal business partner. He adds that as long as she keeps things cool with the kids, he won't report anything. He mentioned he's heading to China for about a week, starting tomorrow, and will probably be back around the new year. Clara was totally caught off guard by this. As he walked away, he said he'd left the warehouse in her hands until next time. Later that night, she started checking out what she could get done in a week. Yukibi walks up to Clara and asks if she's asleep yet. Clara tells her she's just planning the trip and wonders if Yukibi knows about the Alps. Yukibi nods, saying she's aware they're a big mountain range in Europe. Clara dreams of living there peacefully with everyone and asks if Yukibi will come along. Yukibi excitedly agrees, saying she wants to be with Clara forever. Clara thanks her and reminds her it's time to go to bed. Clara figures she won't be home early tomorrow since it'll be a busy day. Arriving at the warehouse on December 25, she thinks about how she's going to China for a week and plans to return after New Year's. When she sees the vault, she rushes over to grab all the cash, imagining buying Yukibi a cute dress. Then, they can plan their move to the Alps, and she thinks a week should be enough time to get ready. She feels so happy thinking about their freedom, but when she gets home, she's totally caught off guard by the surprise celebration. The kids cheer "Merry Christmas" at her, and it looks like they're having a blast at the Christmas party. Meanwhile, Clara is just stunned because that jerk Ryoi is now in her house, smirking as he welcomes her home. Clara starts shaking right away, and Ryoi mentions that his job is cancelled. Since it's Holy Night, he's thinking about setting up a little surprise. The kids get super excited when they find out he's her senior, and he suggests that they should all have a party together. He notices Clara looks really pale and asks if something's up. He also brings up whether all the drugs are sold. She clenches her fist and just stays quiet. Yukibi hears the word drugs and wants to know what he means. Ryoi tries to explain, but Clara cuts him off. He finally spills that her job is to sell the illegal drugs he brings in from from overseas. Yukibi can't believe it. One of the kids remembers seeing on TV that it's a crime. Clara just stands there, totally frozen. The kids think it must be a lie, and can't believe she'd ever do something illegal. Ryoi says that if that's what they think, they really should hear it from her. The girls push Clara to deny it and tell him to shut up, but she just freezes. Ryoi raises a finger and asks if they can get to the real point. He points at the carry case and asks if what's inside comes from his safe or not. Her silence says it all, and he mentions that checking the safe will reveal the truth anyway. He hates when equality gets thrown out the window. He believes that mutual happiness only happens when both sides are equal, and when one side gets greedy, the other ends up unhappy. He insists that equality is everything, and this time, she's the one who betrays him. To bring things back to a fair place, she has to offer something important. He stops to think, and then considers everyone's lives in the room. Clara immediately denies it, completely panicking. He says she's got no choice, but since it's a holiday night, he gives her another option. He pulls out a knife and slams it down on the floor, freaking out the kids. He tells them to take Clara out, and if they do, the rest can live. Yukibi is scared out of her mind. One of the kids snaps back at him, saying it doesn't matter if she sold drugs, because she's the one who raised them all. The jerk doesn't care and starts beating up that kid, leaving everyone in shock. Clara rushes in, but he grabs her by the head and slams her onto the floor. He says he won't show any mercy just because she's a woman or their kids, claiming humans are all equal. One kid is shaking and wants to call the police, but the jerk just laughs and tells them to go for it since Clara will get arrested too. Yukibi feels like the whole thing isn't real and thinks they're all going to die. She remembers Clara telling her to take care of the family if anything goes down. The knife is lying next to her, and she suddenly realizes she has to protect everyone. She goes for Clara and takes her life. The other kids are screaming, totally confused about what she's doing. She's crying non-stop because she believes that if she doesn't do this, everyone's going to die. She pushes the blade deeper, and blood spills from Clara's mouth. Clara drops to her knees, reaching out to Yukibi, who is crying hard. Clara hugs her, apologizing for putting this on her. That's Clara's last moment. She gives a soft smile as her life slips away. Yukibi screams her heart out. The jerk starts laughing and wishes Yukibi a happy birthday. With Clara gone, he says he needs extra hands and asks if she's up for the job. The scene shifts to a chill vibe, where someone calls out Yukibi's name. It feels like they're in the Alps or something. Clara asks why Yukibi is daydreaming. She reaches out her hand, telling Yukibi to come along, and Yukibi happily agrees. She thinks it's all just a bad dream, but the truth is totally different. Everyone is passed out. The police show up and find the awful scene. They start tracking clues that point to the main suspect. They're puzzled about why anyone would use drugs like this. Meanwhile, the jerk says this is fate's plan, and he's glad to see Yukibi again. She's shaking, and he asks if she wants to work for him again, telling her to come his way. Yukibi looks hypnotized and hesitates for a moment, but then she agrees and starts walking toward him. Our guy grabs her and urges her to stop. She just stands there, tears in her eyes. She wrenches her arm away from him and tells him to let go. The jerk asks Yukibi if he's her friend, and she totally shoots that down. He tells her to get rid of him, and she's on board. He starts dragging Yakushiji, who pleads for help. Our guy rushes in, yelling for them to wait, but he gets smacked across the face without a second thought. Yukibi stands her ground while he asks what she thinks she's doing. She warns him that if he steps any closer, she'll take him out. Then she tells him to back off. He straight up refuses and asks her why he should even listen to her. Without missing a beat, she grabs her belt and starts tying him up. The next moment, she delivers a harsh kick to his shoulder, making him scream. She tells him she's always mad at him and starts hitting him, going on about how he always does what he wants and never pays attention. By the end, he's all bruised and banged up. She says her goodbyes and turns to leave, but he still calls out to her as he struggles to get back on his feet. He steps toward her again, and she looks totally thrown off. He tries to grab her arm, but she loses it and yells that he's so irritating, then smacks him across the face again. She continues to wail on him, insisting he won't get it unless he ends up dead. When she's all set to leave again, he catches her off guard by grabbing her foot. She wants to know why he's doing this, and why he keeps trying to stop her. He feels insulted and hurt, but can't say a word. She snaps back, saying she's just a stranger to him, and tells him to back off. Then he mentions that she's a criminal transfer student now, and shares why he ended up being one too. She's taken aback by the suddenness of it all. He confesses that he killed a bunch of people and got caught. At the time, he didn't even think it was wrong, but after meeting Fuyumi-chan, he figured a lot of things out. He finally realized he messed up. He knows he can't change the past, no matter how much he regrets it, but he believes he can make a different future. He doesn't have any feelings for her, but if she calls herself a criminal transfer student, it seems like she thinks that's who she is. So he snaps and asks if she's really okay with staying the same. She can't find the words. Slowly, tears start falling, and she admits that she wants to change. He gets it, but she's freaked out. If she stands up to that jerk, something bad is bound to happen again. She knows he'll get pulled into the mess too. She just can't afford to lose anything else, so she's acting this way. When he asks if that's the case, he mentions there's a solution. Then he laughs, thinking he can just beat that guy up like that'll fix everything. He really thinks he's brilliant. She can't help but snap at him him, telling him not to say something so dumb because that guy isn't someone he can take on. But he shuts her down with his confidence, saying he's not going to listen to her anyway. He pats her head and tells her to trust him and just hang tight. Then he takes off, leaving her all confused. His words about staying the same hit her hard, and memories of Clara and the other kids rush back. She wipes her tears and runs after him. At the cargo ship, the jerk is just standing there, looking all tough. Suddenly, someone shouts that an intruder has busted in. The jerk turns around and sees our guy striding over with total confidence. He asks what's going on and calls him a sneaky little rat. Little does he know, our guy is actually a serious threat. If you're still here, you clearly liked it, so hit like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments if we should do the next part or which manhwa to cover next. Until then, see you in the next video.